Hello, I'm Dr. Todd Lee, creator of the Valhalla Lab supplement line. Today I'm going to discuss with you some biochemistry theory. Because the products are dietary supplements and nutraceuticals, not pharmaceuticals, I cannot make claims. I hope you enjoy my conclusions. Hello, I am Dr. Todd Lee, medical doctor and IFBB Pro, founder of Valhalla Labs, and I am here to talk to you today about body fat. Body fat is something that everyone hates and everyone wants to get rid of. Now, we're going to call it adipose tissue because a lot of people misunderstand what the word fat means. Adipose tissue are cells in your body located in two places, visceral and subcutaneous. And we've got some synthesis and some destruction methods that we can discuss. So in order to understand how to destroy it, you have to know how it grows. Visceral fat is accumulated around your organs and inside your abdominal cavity by having insulin resistance. So if you have a lot of carbohydrates, specifically sugar, in your diet, that means that as your fat cells fill up, your pancreas has to release more insulin to get the same amount of depositing in those cells, so that you're more likely to store fat as fat and less likely to store, more likely to store carbs as fat and less likely to store carbs as muscle glycogen as your insulin resistance increases. Now, insulin resistance is on a seesaw with insulin sensitivity. They're just antithetical terms. We want to be insulin sensitive, not insulin resistant. So the product I invented to create insulin sensitivity is Battlemead. Battlemead Intra and Battlemead Post have glucose disposal agents. They're not insulin mimetics. It's not a synthetic product that binds to the insulin receptor and tricks the cell into thinking they got insulin. It's totally different from that. The idea is that with less carbohydrates than any other intra drink, I can stimulate more loading of the muscle. And that's by sensitizing the muscle cell to existing blood sugar rather than having insulin get released. Less insulin gets released, more carbohydrates go to the muscle, and you get more pump, and your insulin sensitivity improves. You get insulin sensitivity instead of resistance from this intra-workout carb. So therefore, when you're cutting, you will have a decrease in visceral fat rather than an increase in visceral fat from burning only sub-Q and not visceral fat. Sub-Q or subcutaneous fat is the fat that's under your skin. Now, I don't have a lot because I just competed recently, and part of the reason why I'm successful and turned pro at the North American this year is because I use my product, Wrath of the Valkyrie. Now, I formulated this by looking up what is the maximum clinical dose of everything that works, and I made one diet product with it. When I looked at the market after I formulated it, I found that the companies use some of these ingredients, not all of them, and if they did, they use trace amounts. They don't use the maximum amounts. Now, it would take a very long time for me to go through and explain all of the integral working parts of Wrath of the Valkyrie. But what's great about it is it gets the fat out of your cell, transports it to the mitochondria, speeds up the mitochondria burning that fat for fuel, and more importantly, I use T2, which is extremely rare, to make the mitochondria less efficient so that more of the energy is used as heat and less of it is actually used for ATP synthesis, which means you have to burn more fat to get the same amount of energy. But you don't really notice it. It's not like it's a noticeable thing. You actually feel better, if anything, while using Wrath of the Valkyrie. Something interesting I put in is HMB, so it'll protect the muscles from metabolism. Whereas a lot of people worry about losing muscle while they're cutting, it is less likely due to the clinically proven ingredient HMB. HMB is a special type of leucine that's good for preserving muscle, whereas Battlemead has the leucine that's great for synthesizing muscle. So whether you're cutting or growing, you definitely want to use Battlemead if you're trying to cut, Wrath of the Valkyrie to get rid of subcutaneous and visceral fat while you're cutting. Or if you're trying to grow, you still want to use Battlemead to prevent you from accumulating visceral fat. So you don't gain any fat, and if you did gain fat, it'd be just sub-Q, because it's way easier to lose sub-Q fat than visceral fat, and there's no health consequence to sub-Q fat like there is to visceral fat. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.